Pierre Poilievre spoke to the Canadian Police Association yesterday, and in his speech, he signaled using the notwithstanding clause. The constitutional tool, has never been used at the federal level, but some provincial governments have invoked what's called Section 33. Jason Gaidola joins us live with more tonight. Jason, what has the response been by the Trudeau government?
Well, there, Nicole, Liberals fired back saying Poilievre's comments did not show true leadership and that the constitutional tool should be of last resort. However, Poilievre maintains his position that laws surrounding bail and other matters need to be tougher.
Remove the offender to the least possibly restrictive measures. We're going to repeal that, and it will be an automatic fait accompli that multiple murderers will stay in maximum security.
While speaking to Canadian police officers yesterday, federal opposition leader Pierre Poilievre says he will use all the tools he can to toughen criminal laws if elected Prime Minister.
We will make them constitutional, using whatever tools the Constitution allows me to use to make them constitutional. I think you know exactly what I mean.
One of those tools includes Section 33, the notwithstanding clause, something a government can use to override portions of the Charter without judicial review. The Tory leader says a future Conservative government would scrap house arrests for serious offences, ensure murderers with multiple victims serve their entire sentence in maximum security, and reform bail. The Office of the Opposition Leader tells Trending Now, as you know, Mr. Poilievre has openly spoken about using that section of Canada's Constitution in the past, as he did again yesterday. One example being his call to overturn a Supreme Court's decision that denied consecutive sentencing for Alexandre Bissonnette for his role in the 2017 mosque shooting in Quebec.
The Bissonettes, the Veltmans, the Bernardos, the Robert Pictons, to have a chance for parole, that there's nothing they can do that's so heinous that the Supreme Court came out and said, their words, not mine, in a 9-0 decision. If that tells you something about Ottawa and the rest of us, they said it would be cruel and unusual punishment. Their words, not mine, to prevent a Veltman or a Bissonnette from not applying for parole in their natural life. Mr. Pierre Poilievre, if he wanted to overturn that, the only way to do it would be through the notwithstanding clause, because it's a Supreme Court ruling.
Canada's Justice Minister is firing back at the Leader of the Opposition today.
Pierre Poilievre demonstrated very clearly to the Canadian public what his true intentions are with respect to the notwithstanding clause and how easily he would use it. I think if you want a clear-cut case of how this would impact people's lives, you look no further than the case of Mr. Zamir in Toronto.
The notwithstanding clause has never been used federally, but done so on the provincial level in Ontario and Quebec.
The notwithstanding clause should be our last option, not the first option. We should have a dialogue between the courts and governments before it is ever invoked.
Meanwhile, calls for rigorous bail requirements are not just coming from Ottawa, but from police forces as well.
You know, what does the record look like? Is there the possibility that they're going to commit another offense? Does the release of that person place our community at risk? If they do, again, the right people should be held for bail for the right reasons.
In the GTA, Peel police say they've seen hundreds of offenders charged with gun and theft crimes get bailed out, including one tied to the famous gold heist at Toronto's Pearson Airport.
Bail is an issue that affects our ability in all of our investigations to maintain community safety, which is why we welcome the conversations with everybody. And, you know, again, I would defer to the idea that policing's not interested in politics.
And after speaking with the Canadian Police Association yesterday, the association tells Trending Now, that Canada's Public Safety Minister and the NDP's critic also spoke at the event. So they say they welcome all speakers, but they are responsible for their own comments, and the association doesn't endorse any political party.